Alright, this one's gonna be pretty raw. I got some notes here for myself. Um, and this is a video, might not be for everyone, but it's a little bit of my background, my backstory. Who is Krypton? And I guess you have to go back to 2006 when I joined up with the Navy and became a submariner. Something I did not intend to do. Yeah, I was actually interested in video, and I wanted to join and document what was going on. However, my ASVAB score I was told was too high for that rate, and it wasn't available. However, submarine service, that was right up my alley, and that I would get a bonus. But when I got to boot camp, they told me if I still didn't want to pursue that, and I wanted to go for the videographer's mate, I could cross rate. Well, that was a lie. However, it all worked out in the end. I joined up, went through boot camp, had a little bit of delay there for, believe it or not, I got my appendix removed, so I was on hold waiting to get checked off from my appendix being removed when I was 6. From there, I went through A school and then went to my first submarine, the USS New Hampshire, which was actually in the process of being built. So I'm a plank owner, meaning I was there before it was actually commissioned and built. I earned my dolphins on that boat. I extended twice on that boat. I went on numerous deployments. And my job was I was sonar tech, and I went all the way up to being sonar supervisor on my final deployment, which was pretty awesome. And then I ended up going to Weapons Station Norfolk, where I would build torpedoes. And that's where things kind of took a turn for me. One day I kind of started having massive panic attacks and fainting spells. I was also very sluggish and tired all the time. I guess what led up to this is I had this tooth here, that wasn't growing there. It was growing in the middle of my mouth. So they, ended up pulling it through, removing my baby tooth that was still there, so it would have room to go into. Excuse me. And it ended up getting really infected, and I had to go on some heavy antibiotics. And I've never been the same since then. So one day I started having panic attacks and fainting spells, as I said, gaining weight. They didn't really know what was going on with me. Started running a whole bunch of tests. And for a moment there, they actually thought I had lymphoma. I have 2 tumors that luckily are benign, but we dealt with a cancer scare, my wife and I, and that kind of made the panic attacks a little bit worse and happened a little bit more frequently. But after a couple of years of testing and figuring out, I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune disorder and a thyroid disorder. And this kind of changed me. I wasn't quite able to PT like I used to. I was tired all the time. I was in pain all the time. Still having panic attacks. And it led me down a path that I wasn't going to be able to stay a submariner. So at that point, I was looking at trying to cross rate, which due to my time in service, at this point I was like 9 years and 5 months. They didn't want to cross rate me. And also during this time, we were trying to figure out why I wasn't better yet, because my levels for my thyroid were in check. And it was at that point that I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, on top of the Hashimoto's. And basically was told that, hey, There's no rate that's going to retrain you. You're too expensive. You need to do an early out, which I ended up doing because I felt like I was letting down my command. They needed another body. I was promised that I would be taken care of once I got out, which has still been a fight, but they're doing better. We're doing better. We're getting there. We're getting to where I should be 4 years later. But yeah, things didn't just end there. I left 3 months after the fibromyalgia. I was out. My wife and I picked up from that station and we moved to Colorado, where we were trying to make it work. I was kind of in denial, thinking like, hey, I'm still gonna be able to work on this and get better and feel better. And I was trying to be a positive person, and I went to school. I said, I'm gonna do something friggin' awesome. I'm gonna become a brewer. I love beer. I've brewed my own beer before. It was my first craft I ever got into. That's what I'm gonna go to school for. And for the first year, everything was great. You know, I still was dealing with the pain. I was still dealing with the fatigue all the time. But one thing that didn't really start to happen at this time was the fibro fog, and my memory was still there. The second year of college, I started my first year. I was straight A's and B's, doing great. Second year, I started to slack. I couldn't concentrate as well. On top of that, I was getting sick all the time and not being able to make it to classes due to being sick. And this kind of made me feel like, hey, I'm failing at school, and I started going part-time instead of full-time, something I could manage, which increased my depression, and I was feeling like a failure. I'm like, I can't even do school. So eventually it got to the point that I was not feeling well and getting sick so often, and my ability to concentrate went out the window, that I was struggling even with the part-time. So we decided to take a break from that, which, by the way, the GI Bill is my income. It was how we were paying for our apartment and trying to get by and put food on the table. I do get some disability as well, which I'm rated 80%, which we are trying to bump up to 100, but 80%, it was not enough to keep the wife and I housed and fed, on top of other bills that, you know, from the military. When I was making a lot of money, we had. Yeah, I had some debt. I sold a brand new Camaro. I got it that year because I thought I was about to go to my new duty station, and I was also trying to re-enlist. I was coming up on my 10-year mark where I could have re-enlisted again for a bonus. So that was the plan. I had another, year left on my contract as well. So I thought the car was no big deal. Had to sell that, and that was for a loss. But yeah, anyway, going back to the school thing, what broke the camel's back per se was I got an internship working at a distillery for one of the places we did a school project for. And I'm like, great, I get some hands-on experience for stuff that I want to do with this brewing, something I'm passionate about. And that kind of opened up my eyes that, hey, you can't be a brewer and have fibromyalgia. I wasn't able to do it. I'd have a couple good days, and then I'd have a couple horrible days, and you can't not be physical when you're in that kind of industry. Not to mention, it's kind of hard to find a job that they'll accept that, hey, you don't know when you're gonna be sick and be out of it. And that kind of made me want to pursue something else. And at this time, streaming was kind of, interesting to me, and I decided to give that a try, which ultimately didn't work out either. It was going good for a while, but one thing with streaming on Twitch, you got to be there every day. You got to have a schedule set, and if you're not, it's kind of, at least in my experience, it was hard to find people that would come back if you weren't there for a week. So that didn't work out. And I don't know. I felt like I was just a failure at everything. We were struggling pretty hard financially, and that's why I disappeared. I wasn't in a good mental space. I didn't like who I was, and I felt like I wasn't able to give my wife the life that the minimum. So I took some time off, guys, and we ended up figuring out what's the solution here, because my income, my situation isn't going to change realistically. So we moved to Texas, and we can actually survive here off of what I get. And it's not thriving, but we are surviving instead of stressing out of, hey, where's the next meal going to come from? At least I got the roof and the food covered. But that's where we are now. And I did a lot of self kind of thought and thinking of what I want to do. And I realized, hey, I probably can't commit to anything. This channel, what I want to do here is more for me, more for just trying to have fun, trying to enjoy what I like to do. I won't be able to promise you guys a video every day or really know where it's gonna go, but that's okay. We're just here to have fun, and I'm excited to come back and do something that brought me happiness, and that was interacting and meeting you guys. I don't really get to get out much anymore, and I don't get to really socialize like I used to. I used to be crazy, life of the party kind of person. And now I'm more, I don't know, anxiety ridden, afraid I'm going to start feeling sick while I'm out at a group and people are going to think I'm weird. But hey, we're all weird on the internet and whatnot, right? So that's why I'm here, is hopefully meet some friends and keep me on this journey of just trying to figure out life. I feel like that's what we're all trying to do. We're just trying to make it through another day and find a purpose that is achievable and within our limits. And yeah, so hopefully you guys will be here to experience it with me, and I'm kind of excited to start this journey again of putting myself out there, which is good for therapy, opening up, and meeting some new people. So once again, thank you for the support, and hopefully this wasn't too long. It's a little raw and uncut. Like I said, I'm just going to post it up there. We'll get back to our editing days and whatnot, but for now, I just want to be real and put myself out there, and yeah, that's about it. Well, thanks again. Thanks for the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.